let's just talk about the Heat and Jazz for a second. They both have been phenomenal to start the season. The Jazz and the Heat both have the same net rating of plus 12.6, which is tied for the second best in the NBA. Number one is Golden State at 13.2. But talking about the Jazz and Heat, who do you think is the more dominant team? Who can keep it up for longer? And who do you trust come postseason time more?
So to answer those, couple of questions that you asked, I think personally, you guys can attest to this. I've been high on Miami. I've been high on Miami since the offseason. Since they got Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker. They got those, acquisitions, made their team much better. I think Miami's the slightly better team. I was looking at their offensive, defensive rankings. Miami right now is the 5th ranked offense in the NBA. And they're the number 1 defense in NBA by far right now. I was checking the numbers. And Jimmy Butler, I saw the Kia MVP ladder. Jimmy Butler, I think he's third. He's the third candidate on behind Steph Curry and Kevin Durant.
He's been bugging.
He's balling out. He's playing great. Tyler Herro's looking like a serious 6 man of the year candidate. I don't know which one you called that he could potentially win that award. Maybe it was River, whoever called that. Great call, because he's looking like he's looking like he's every bit of a person that could win 6 man of the year. Bam Adebayo who was my pick for defensive player of the year. He's killing it on defense this year. Then you have I just feel Miami's just a slightly better all around team. I know they have 3 players scoring 20 points per game. Jimmy Butler's giving you about 25. Tyler Herro's giving you 20 off the bench. Bam Adebayo's giving you 20 and 13.
So who do you think is going to be better in this regular season? Who do you see is going to finish with the best record?
That's the thing. The data tells me that the Utah Jazz will probably finish with the better record, given that they've been number 1 in the West. They're more so of a regular season team. They were my ceiling for them when we did our predictions. I think they could be number 1. My ceiling for Miami was number 3. So I'm gonna say just lean towards the Jazz in the regular season. Now, come postseason time, I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat. I think defensively they can match up with any team in the NBA. Offensively, the Kyle Lowry's gotten off to a slow start. His numbers aren't that well, but I think as time goes on, he'll get better. So I think just defensively and all around, I think Miami has a better scoring cast, supporting cast, and defensively, I think from top to bottom they're amazing. So I would trust them. I think they match up well against the top seeds in the East, whether it be Milwaukee, Brooklyn. I just trust them more, and they have finals experience. They were just coming off the finals a couple years ago in the bubble. Kyle Lowry's a champion. PJ Tucker's coming off a championship. This team, the Miami Heat this offseason really built a team that could really upset the Bucks or the Nets, and I feel like come playoff time, I trust them more. I think their team is just better defensively, and they got that much better offensively that I think they can take anybody down in the NBA.
My biggest concern with the Heat this offseason was that they didn't have enough scoring. They had one person over 20 points per game last season. That was Jimmy Butler. This season, they have about 3.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo's at 19.7. I'll do him the solid. I'll round him up to 0.3.
That's what I did.
He's been excellent this season. Tyler Herro averaging 20.4 per game. We spoke about that too. You needed that one extra piece off the bench, regardless of where he's going to come from, to ignite the bench unit, to be that piece off the bench that's going to get you that scoring that you need. I had worries about the offense. And like you mentioned, Kyle Lowry really hasn't even gotten off to that great of a start. He's averaging about 10 points per game. His assist numbers are around Kyle Lowry's average. He's averaging about like 7.5, something like that. But they've been scoring a lot. They're top 5 in offense, number 1 defensive rating. But that wasn't a surprise to us. Coming to the season, we knew just looking at that 5 with Lowry, Duncan Robinson has to start, but regardless, PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo, that those 5 were going to be good enough to defend against any team in the NBA. Yeah. But offense was the question, and up until this point, they've completely thrown that to the side. And once Kyle Lowry starts cooking, the offense is only going to get better.
Oladipo is going to come back.
Oladipo hasn't even played a game yet, which is very interesting. Only thing that I have about the Utah Jazz and why I would say I lean the Heat more so to continue their dominance is that Jazz are just a little bit injury prone to me. Donovan Mitchell missed last game, regardless of whether it was just, give him a breather or not. Donovan Mitchell last season missed some time too, and I don't think that Donovan Mitchell's injury prone. Yeah. Mike Conley's getting up there in age, and when Mike Conley's on the court, like we've had multiple discussions about, they're obviously better. I'm not sure if I can trust Mike Conley staying on the court for the entirety of the season come postseason time. Bogdanovich has been great for sure, but we've seen Bogdanovich go down when they need him most too. Joe Ingles is a solid dude, and we haven't seen any injury history out of Joe Ingles. We haven't seen any injury history out of Rudy Gobert. But we're talking about Donovan Mitchell, who is the piece that makes the Utah Jazz go, and we're talking about Mike Conley, who we've seen when he's not on the court, his impact is felt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just trust the Heat's game plan, their scheme, their overall team more, just because from what I've seen from Utah in the past, they can only be so good in the regular season. I think regular season wise, for sure, Jazz will be there because they're a regular season team. Like you said already, I'm just gonna reiterate it in a different way. Jazz are an excellent regular season team, but come postseason time, I'm not all in on them. Sure, they do have the scores. Jordan Clarkson woke up last game for sure. I think he had 28, almost 30 points. He broke out of that slump. I think he won a few games without hitting the three. He put that to bed. He had an excellent game. They have dynamic scorers. They have aggressive scorers. My concern is his health, and whether Rudy Gobert is going to be able to come out and off the pick and roll defense, if he's going to be able to adjust to those switches. I know Bam Adebayo can do that. Perimeter defense, Bam Adebayo is arguably the best defensive center in the league when it comes to that.
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's been excellent both sides of the court. Struggled against Boston, but Al Horford has just been also known for just being a great defender regardless of the age that he's been at. He's been playing at a very high level for the Celtics too. So I'm not thinking too much about that Celtics game. I think overall, the improvements that they've shown on offense, I lean the Heat right now.
Come playoff time, you trust Miami more, right?
I do. I lean Miami come playoff time. One, most importantly, Eric Spoelstra.
Great coach.
And two, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker.
The Jazz are going to be the best regular season team.
Without a doubt.
We all agree to that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And there's no doubt about it to me. Even if Donovan Mitchell goes down, even if Mike Conley goes down, they find ways to win regular season games.
For sure.
Versus Atlanta, they beat them by 18 without Donovan Mitchell. Jordan Clarkson had 30 points in that game. Rudy Gobert is taking a bigger step in rebounding, and probably he's averaging more rebounds because of the more physical play in the NBA. Now there are more missed shots as well. True. So he has more opportunities to get those rebounds. The Jazz are a great regular season team, and I think because they're so great, no matter who they plug in and play, is the reason why Donovan Mitchell will never get his respect as an MVP candidate.
Okay.
Because Jimmy Butler, he's third in the MVP race, right?
Yeah.
And Miami Heat, they were the first seed. He's averaging 25. Butler's averaging 24, 6, and 5. Mm-hmm. Mitchell's averaging 25, 5, and 5. The Jazz are the first seed. Nobody talks about him at all in the MVP conversation. There's a reason for that. It's because when Mitchell goes out, they still beat an Atlanta team by 18. They still do what they do. Mitchell isn't an analytics darling. The players with the best PER on the Jazz are usually, Conley or Gobert. Those advanced metrics usually favor those players. In the offseason, you mentioned that the Heat didn't have enough scores. I agree. They don't have a James Harden, Kevin Durant, Dame level scorer, but they have a lot of guys. And Kyle Lowry, he's in a funk right now. He's averaging 10 points per game. He got injured versus Boston. He was limping off the court. Well, he was hopping off the court, actually. But Miami, there's just something about them defensively that I just trust them. And the reason why I trust them in the playoffs over the Jazz, it has nothing to do with their personnel. It just has to do with the fact that they've already been to the finals. This core has already been to the finals. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, they already been to the finals. Dwayne Dedmon is a really good role player for them. We know that Kyle Lowry, the additions of Kyle Lowry and PG Tucker, what they did for them, what they're doing for them defensively as of now, second best defensive rating in the NBA, is absolutely astonishing. I mean, they are locking down teams. They are that great defensively. And Victor Oladipo is that X factor. And when he comes back, and when you have Hero and Dedmon and Oladipo off the bench, when you get that crew together, if they start catching a rhythm, this team can go by the East. Because right now, Milwaukee, Drew Holiday's hurt right now, banged up. Middleton didn't play last game. Brook Lopez is banged up right now. And Milwaukee, you're seeing it right now to start the season. Their depth isn't that great. They lose one of their main guys. their depth can't fill in.
To be fair,
DiVincenzo's
they
out
lost,
too.
They lost 3 guys.
Yeah,
three
yeah,
of their main
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So I'm going to give them a little bit
Yeah,
of
they
a
lost.
there.
They lost to
Yeah.
Minnesota without Drew and Brooke.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Drew's career, you look at where he's been at with the Pelicans. He was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so he's not a guy that usually stays healthy. Brooke Lopez, this is an anomaly year because he's usually healthy. But Drew Holiday is that guy that if he's banged up, they don't get past the Nets. They don't get past the Heat.
They won't beat us
They don't-
without Drew Holiday.
They not being nobody without Drew, one of the top teams in the East.
They won't beat us without Middleton either.
Oh, for sure.
But the Jazz are no slouch. And the Jazz, if they're healthy, they can give any team in the West a run for their money.
Absolutely.
For me, you know I'm with Golden State all day. Golden State's my team. They're first in net rating right
This
now.
guy.
I'll pick them before the
They've
season.
been excellent.
Of course.
I
7-1.
picked them before the season to make it out the West.
He said my team.
But the second team is a toss-up. The Lakers or the Jazz. Because we know that Utah team, they have Russell Westbrook figured out. They eliminated him how much times in the playoffs already?
I think it was once.
It was just once. But a rookie Mitchell eliminated Westbrook in the playoffs.
Phenomenal.
They have Westbrook. They have that game plan figured out.
Mitchell's that playoff performer as
Yeah,
well.
they
Mitchell
have that
steps
game
up in
plan
the
figured out.
playoffs.
So for
I'm not
me,
worried.
I
It's
like.
early.
I know the Lakers have the star power, but for me, I just put my West rankings in terms of playoffs. Warriors, Jazz, and Lakers. Lakers and Jazz are fighting for that second spot.
Fair enough.
But me, I think it's Golden State, and both teams are great. I think the Heat have an edge on them just because of that experience in the playoffs and because they tend to stay more healthy. But the Jazz are no slouch either.
All
Yeah,
three of
Jazz are
us
a
have a
great team.
similar opinion, so I'm going to go in depth in what you just said right now about the West. And I won't go too deep because obviously they know who I side with. But Jazz to Lakers right now. We've seen the transition. We've seen AD move to the 5 like I've been absolutely begging the Lakers to do, and we've seen it have some success. He's been playing out of his mind. Russell Westbrook, outside of the 2 games, he's been playing okay.
Yeah.
He's had some struggles still defensively, and I think that will get cleaned up. LeBron, surprisingly, I believe I think it was an abdominal strain, something like that. He's
He'll
going
miss
to be
a
out
week.
for the week. We look good. I think we look
I lost to
damn
OKC
good.
twice.
He's a little 19-point lead.
I'm not thinking about that too much, truthfully. It hurts, sure. Like as a fan, I want to win those games, and we should be 7-2 instead of 5-4. That being said, AD playing at the 5, going against Gobert, I love that.
AD playing at the 5 is going to open up the floor a lot for Westbrook.
God. And Melo, the way that Melo has
Melo's
been
been playing
I'll
amazing.
give you your credit for sure. You said Melo needs to be that 3rd best scoring option for the Lakers if they want to have success. He's been otherworldly.
Melo's been really good.